I just want to be done. I'm tired. It's tough. There's no way to deal with this. And I don't know if I can keep doing it. Is the worst possible thing to hear from an employee who you love desperately. And that's why managing burnout is so important. Stay tuned for more of this today's episode on the Murdy Creative Co podcast. And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Murdy, and today we're talking about managing burnout. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. Or you can check us out on all of our social medias. Just as a quick note, Mother's Day, if you're going to order something for Mother's Day, order it today, the day that this podcast is posted, and order it with next day air shipping. If you do that, we can still get it to you in time, theoretically. It should show up unless there's some act of God. But if you want to get something for Mother's Day, now's the time to do it. Also, don't forget graduation and confirmation are two of these things happening this season. So if you've got something for your confirmands that are, becoming part of their church, obviously we have wonderful Bible options. We also have really good pre-engravings with both all sorts of different Bible verse options, as well as you can customize and add your own Bible verse. So for me, my Bible verse for my confirmation was 2 Timothy 1:7, and I have that on a Bible as a gift that I got. So go check that out if you want. Graduation is coming and fast approaching. So for those of you who've got graduation parties you're going to be going to this summer, or you just want to give them something at graduation, check out our program. We've got all sorts of great options in our profiles. We've got things to write on. We've got things to read with if they're going to college, if they're just graduating from middle school, there's options. So not a lot of people give middle school gifts, I will admit, but go check those out. It's a great option to find something for that special someone. My mother loves to give valet trays, just as a hark and back to last episode. So if you guys are looking for graduation gifts, go check out the Murdy Creative Co for accessories or for just regular items. They're great. All right, so today we're managing burnout. Now, this is kind of a bit of a fun topic for me because I took all of last week off. It's the first time I've taken like a full week off in a long time. That's not technically true. I'd usually take off about a week over Christmas when I go visit my parents in Texas. And there are rare occasions prior to that when I've taken for maternity leave off. So it's not that I haven't had any time, but it's nice to be able to take time off. In fact, I have encouraged my employees to take at least a week off once a quarter if possible. We offer pretty generous PTO. We offer, at this point, I think most of my employees have something like 3 or 4 weeks of PTO that they get every year. And while they're not required to take that time off, we do encourage it. Because burnout's a real thing. I don't care how happy-go-lucky, how much of the world's greatest grinder you are, you can only do that for so long, right? And before those of you who come at me want to say, well, our forefathers didn't get time off, they didn't get to take a sabbatical. Yeah, they died. Like that was how they had short lives that were tough and hard, and then they died. So I don't, I'm not saying you can't do that if you don't want to. I'm just saying you don't have to under most circumstances. Now, I'm blessed with an excellent team. And I love my people a lot. And they have allowed me to have my dream job, and they have afforded me with certain privileges that are great. And during my week off, I spent a wonderful amount of time working on a little hobby of mine. I happen to love motorcycles, and I'm working on converting a TW200, which is a beautiful, what I call dirt bike. It's actually not beautiful. It's mechanically beautiful dirt bike, and I'm converting into an actually beautiful retro-looking motorcycle. And someday I'll put together a video explaining all of that, and that'll be fun for me, and maybe I'll post it somewhere else. But the moral of the story is I spent a week off doing something fun, and it was a great break. I can't really do vacations where I just sit. That's not really a good vacation for me. I mean, I can for like a day maybe, right? A day at the beach I could do, but like that's not how I relax. It's not relaxing for me, in fact, to sit. It's quite anxiety inducing because I should be working if I have that time. So I've been working very hard in these different stages at managing work-life balance, which is something that a lot of people talk about. And small business owners obviously have a bit of a unique circumstance to deal with that. When I was first starting my business, my work was my life. And so I did a lot of that. Now, I was brand new married, and my wife was just as much involved in the business as I was, and we didn't have kids, so it was pretty easy for us to be all in the business all the time. As we had kids, that evolved a little bit, and I worked really hard over time to hire people and bring people on that can help manage things and to create space so that when I went home, I wasn't working and things like that. And slowly but surely, I've been able to get to a point where I'm actually able to go on vacation for a little while and things don't fall apart. And one of the things that has come up a lot is in small businesses, you have kind of a different problem than big business. And frankly, it's just as difficult in a different way, of course. In a small business, you often become very close with the people that you work with. Now, in big businesses, you can become close to them as well, in your coworkers, but it's not quite the same thing because you as a small business owner bring on people and you have to count on them with your livelihood. Like this, I have to be able to trust these people implicitly when I go off because I can't just keep micromanaging them. Now, the people I hired, both of them, because it's myself, Anna, and Meryl. Those are the 3 full-time people in this company. And then Morgan comes in part-time on 4 days a week to help. So that's a small business. There's no two ways about it. Right? That's a small business. And we have to make and manage all of the orders. We do all of the marketing in-house. We do all of the logistics and inventory, and everything we do is in-house, right? As much as humanly possible. And so because of that, it's tough. It's tough work. And I have become very close with my 2 team. They are really reliable, stalwart people who are here, and they are good soldiers. And it's a funny problem that I have wonderful, very driven achievers for my team, and they're very conscientious people. But it means I kind of have to push them sometimes to take time off. And in Wisconsin especially, April's hard. May is better. March is really hard. So that March, April, May time of year is really tough because the cold and the dark and the winter just seems forever, and all you do is go to work in the dark and you come home in the dark and you spend all your day doing the same thing at work, and then you go home and it's not fun. It's not great. But May starts to really, like, things start to warm up and the rain stops and it's sunny for several days in a row and it's 75 and sunny and it's light breeze and it's just a perfect environment, right? There's no bugs because the bugs haven't really come out in force yet. And I was really enjoying last week. And with my team being such conscientious people, many of them, they will work themselves to death. They will die at their posts like good soldiers. And I don't want that for them. I want them to be able to take breaks. And we have a great communicative relationship, right? I've had Meryl come into my office and say, Colin, I'm feeling really burnt out. I don't know what to do about this. And honestly, it's hard to respond to that in some regards because the answer is, how can I help, right? For me, I've always had that attitude. How can I help, right? If you need time off, let's get you time off. If you need to change your work a little bit, let's change your work around, right? At some level, that the business has to cater to people, whether that be our customers, obviously that's the first, but also our team, right? I can't run this without them, right? And in many regards, they have allowed my dream to come true. And so it is the least I can do to help make sure that they enjoy their work. So how can we manage that? Well, we used to have Trevor. He was a full-time person with us. We loved Trevor. Trevor was great. And when he left, because he wanted to go pursue a graphic design career, and God bless him, more power to him. But Trevor, if you're listening, I hope things are going well. We were worried that we were going to have to do a lot more production amongst ourselves to manage that because Trevor did a lot of the production. And that was a whole concern. But over the last 3 months, we've really been able to showcase that with our team being very productive, we can do it. In fact, we can keep up with our orders, and those orders have allowed us to continue to pay off our debt. So there is a slight profitability to the company, right? So it's not like we're not busy, right? We've got enough work to keep us in business. We've been able to pay down debt, and we've been able to keep up with production and work on other projects, right? The progress has been made on the pen. There's progress being made on a lot of stuff in the background, right? So things have been going well. And in fact, we've been so productive that we've gotten to the point where most days by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we're done, right? We're done with production. We've got the things that were supposed to go out. Now, the question is, are there some things to be done? Some days, yeah, there's a couple more things we could do, but you get to a point where you're so caught up that there's just nothing to do, right? And that's not a very efficient thing. The most efficient way that this workshop can run is when there's about 20 to 40 things to do any day, right? So if we sprint through and we get everything done and we're just working on things that came in that day, that's not very efficient because you're doing things one at a time rather than being able to batch them, right? So the most efficient thing for us to do is to create a schedule, and we've been within our 2 to 3 crafting day lead time, pretty much without exception, other than when we run out of bourbon, which is a whole thing, but this whole time. So it's a huge success. So I've been thinking about how can we manage burnout in-house? Now, one option is to say, okay, well, we're going to give everybody a week off on a revolving basis. And that does happen occasionally from time to time, but that has its downsides, and it's not particularly effective at giving people a break, in my opinion. In the European world, they will go on holiday for like 3 weeks at a time, and they will be unreachable until they get back. I think that's great. I really think that would be a wonderful thing if we could manage it, but that's just not really exactly the culture we've built around here. And the idea is like, okay, well, maybe we could do 3-day weekends, right? We could say, okay, we're gonna have 3-day weekends, or we'll do, like I said, the revolving week off. But the problem is when there's only 3 people in a company and one person takes off for a week, it puts a lot of load onto the other 2. And so you kind of create this environment where there's a lot of load on 2 people, and it's just, so you go on your vacation and then you come back and there's a lot of load on you when you have to pick up the slack from the other person, right? Now, thankfully, with the number of people we have, it's not the end of the world. We can manage it. It's just a lot. So I don't think the revolving week off has worked really particularly well. It also has a problem with we're all very good friends at this point. So there's a certain amount of guilt that you feel when you're on vacation, knowing that the rest of your team is picking up the slack, right? There's a certain amount of that. Now, that's not a particularly healthy thing, and we should be able to get over that. And as a manager, I've been doing my best to try to encourage people not to worry about it. We've got it. So all in all, that revolving week off is kind of an okay solution, but it's not a great solution. We can't really take 3 weeks off for the same reason. And I don't think the idea of like some people are like, well, work 4 days and then take a day. I'll do 3-day weeks sometimes, 3-day weekends sometimes. But I don't think that works either, because you come back from your 3-day weekend with a huge mountain of work to do, especially if the customer service stuff is backed up. And there's obviously things that happen every day that we need to take care of. We need to answer questions and involve people, and it's a whole thing, right? We want to get you guys your products quickly. So my new idea, and I'm actually pretty excited about this, we're going to see how it goes, and I think it's going to have some very interesting side effects, is that when the work is done, we go home. And what I mean by that is this. On any given day, Meryl has set up an excellent production schedule, or on any given day, we have a certain number of items that have to go out, that we have to get out, specifically to stay on track or to get a little bit ahead or whatever the goal is. And we cut those items, engrave those items, make those items, quality control those items, box those items, ship those items out. That's what happens, right? Anna's answering customer service emails or answering phone calls when they come in. Meryl's working on ordering and logistics to reorder supplies. Those are other things that happen. I'm working on marketing, advertising, emails, all of the other things that go along with that. So it's not like that's the only thing we have to do on any given day. We have other responsibilities, but we fit those in and we just kind of putter along. But the thing is this, most days, the core of the production work and the core of the work from answering emails and the core of the work of reordering and the core of the marketing work is about done at about 2 to 3 o'clock. And there are other projects that the company is working on. The database, amongst others, is one of the ones. That's been Meryl's project for a while now, and Anna's got her own projects of the same variety. And there hasn't been that much progress on them. And part of the problem is I think we've gotten into a mindset where it's just there's not enough time to get really into something like that. And everyone's a little bit burnt out and tired. So my plan in May is this. When the work is done at about 2 o'clock from a production standpoint and the emails and 2:30, go home. Enjoy the nice weather. Enjoy gardening. Enjoy your hobby. Have fun. And we'll do that for the month. And when the work is done, we go home. And Anna will still be answering emails. She'll still be answering the phone, right? But she can do that from home, and she can do that while she's gardening and whatnot, right? She can have a life. And I'm not making her work in that regard. And realistically, we answer emails in most cases within minutes, if not within an hour or two. And that's way faster than most customer services. I think most individuals, when they email a company, expect a response within 24 hours, but they don't necessarily expect a response before then. So if emails and phone calls and things come in after 4 o'clock, we're definitely not going to answer them because it's after our business hours. But if you're going to answer, if we've got an email that comes in at 3 o'clock, we'll work on it tomorrow morning. There's no reason to kill ourselves to get it out, right? And I think we can do that while still caring for our customers, right? And if there's an emergency, I'm 4 minutes away, and it just lets me know I'll come back in, I'll make something, I'll get it out. I can do that. Now, here's the side effect, I think, of doing this. This is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. I think if it's an extra 3 hours a day, 2 or 3 hours a day in the afternoon that you have to yourself, you get off work at 2 o'clock. I think that's far more fun for employees. I think that's far more enjoyable for the team than if you had a whole day off. Because if you have one whole day off extra, there's a lot of pressure for you to make that day good, right? Like, I don't want to waste my day off doing something. So There's a lot of pressure that's created by this. But if it's the kind of thing where it's like, all right, I got to go to work. I'll get there at 8. Hopefully I'll be done by 2:30. And then I'll have the rest of the afternoon to work on stuff. And if I decide to not do anything really important that day, don't worry. I'll do something tomorrow, right? It just was bonus time. Ironically, I actually think that's what most work from home remote jobs are like. I think the mentality of the remote work life can be brought in to this company successfully, and we can find some of the fun and the joy and the success and the relaxation that can bring. And I don't think we have to sacrifice productivity. I don't think we have to sacrifice our customer service. And I don't think we have to sacrifice really any of our operational success to do that. Now, will we do this forever? No. Because the problem is that we don't really get any of the other projects done. The database will not be making much progress in May because this would be the time. But we're not making much progress now as is. And I have a theory. I have a theory that if we set out in the morning and we say, this is the number of things we need to get done today, and when they're done, you got to go home, I have an odd feeling we will be able to get those things done faster than we've ever been able to do them before. And we're already doing pretty good, but I think we'll be able to go even faster. I think we might even be able to get done by 1. That's a long, lofty goal, but maybe. If we can get done by 1, and we can do that for a whole month, and we can make it so that that's kind of normally when we get done, I think what's going to happen is that when we come back at the end of May to our normal schedule in June, I think we're going to maintain that same efficiency, but the idea is, okay, it's 1 o'clock, we're done with the production. Now you can spend 4 hours rather than gardening, or 3 hours rather than gardening in your projects. You can spend 3 hours on your work project. So I think it'll be a shift in mindset, a shift in energy. And I think about a month's worth of doing this will be just enough for people to be really happy with their home projects and their hobby, and they'll enjoy the sunshine and they'll get out. And then I think by the time we get to June, I think a lot of people will be much more refreshed and ready to get back into our work projects. And we might actually make progress on them because we're not anymore. And hammering on it's not making any progress. And I don't like to hammer on it anyway. I think we can do this in a much more comfortable way. So that's my goal. That's what I'm trying. But I want to hear what you think. Obviously, we are in a unique circumstance with our opportunity. I don't think we'll be able to do this in the future, right? With the bag launch, those are going to take a lot longer to manufacture, so that'll be a whole thing. With the pens, those are going to be a way, way more complicated manufacturing process, and if those take off, all of a sudden we'll be way, way too busy to do this, right? So I'm being very cognizant of the fact that we have a really, really rare and unique opportunity in this window right now with how things are going in this place to do this. And maybe we'll never be able to do it again. But maybe it works really well, and maybe we learn something out of that. But I want to hear what you want to think. Do you think this is crazy? Do you think this is a good idea? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But there's more to the story. I was part of a CEO group in Milwaukee, and it was a group of small business CEOs. There was a couple of people in the things that actually ran rather large businesses, but it was a really interesting environment, and it was really fun for me to get a sense of what other business owners thought. By the way, the limited edition color for this week is plum. It is a beautiful plum. So keep that in mind. Now, this group that I was part of with these CEOs, it was very interesting to hear the different mindsets from the different generations and the different individuals and the different industries. But there was one gentleman who stuck out to me, and his name was Rick. And I will never forget Rick, because Rick is the definition of success in many regards. But it was funny because I don't think he realized it until the end. I stopped going to meetings because it was too expensive to go, because you had to pay to be part of the group, which, you know, it's a fine way to keep it so that it's CEOs only. It was expensive, and it was fun, and it was good connections and whatnot, but it was expensive. And it was like maybe the meeting or two before my last meeting. And I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, and I could have gotten the details wrong, but Rick was talking about how he'd been working a lot. He was a little bit of an older gentleman at the time, right? Like, he wasn't old by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't like he was a 30-year-old saying these things. And he's saying that he'd been working really hard, and that financially things were going well, but he was putting a ton of hours into his business, and you know, it was exhausting, and he wasn't sure what to do. And it's funny because I'd been in this group with these CEOs, and all of them were all about optimizing your time and moving and getting things done and growing your company. It was a big push. It was growing your company. If you're not growing, you're dying. And I was thinking about this, and I said, Rick, you did it. Congratulations. You can go back to not working at an insane pace. Most business owners never get to a point where they're financially in a secure place, or at least financially secure enough to be able to say, I can enjoy life now. I can enjoy time. And the thing is this, a lot of times when you start a small business, like me, you love what you're doing. That's why you did it. You enjoy the work. Doing the work is fun. You go to work every day and do your hobby, right? Like, that's a great thing. But eventually, after doing it long enough, some of that magic dissipates a little bit. And if at that point you still are hammering away at it, but you're not enjoying it very much anymore, and you are financially successful, you kind of have to ask yourself, why? At that point, you're not necessarily doing it for the money, right? You've got the success there. And if you're not enjoying the thing you're doing anymore, what's the benefit here? So I said that to her. I said, congratulations, you did it. And it was funny because I got a lot of strange looks, and it was kind of an interesting environment at that point. I got a lot of strange looks from people who were, I'm like, you don't need to hammer away at this. And I think it's maybe a millennial mindset. Maybe this is the millennials don't know how to work anymore. I don't think that's true at all. But, it's a funny joke. It's a good meme. But maybe it's my millennial mindset. But for me, if the company is at a point where we're generating enough profit to continue paying down our debt, and we're doing that successfully, and we are making great quality products, and we're able to do that in a way that is unstressful in a production way. We don't have to, be working till midnight every night, working on this, working our fingers to the bone. And I got a great team of people who I trust implicitly, who are working hard and who've worked hard for years, and many of whom are very tired. Now is the perfect time to take a breath, because we don't have to sacrifice anything to take that breath, and we desperately need the breath. But so many businesses are so terrified of taking a breath because they're worried that at the second they take a breath, the second they let off the gas, it's all going to fall apart. And you have to think about, what kind of stress does that put on you to think that if you step off the gas for 1 minute, things will fall apart. I have been in that boat for years. I've been in that boat for a long time. And there have been times when it was true. There have been times when I stepped away for a little while and the wheels came off the bus, which, by the way, is the worst possible thing to happen, because it reinforces negatively in your mind that you can't take a break. That'll kill you. So you need to be able to take a break. And so the point is that it's important that we say, okay, if we don't have to hammer on the gas, we shouldn't be. We should take a breath, because there will be times in the near future when the pen launches, when the bag launches, when all these other things come down the pike, where we will need to hammer on the gas and we will need to push, and there will be long hours and there will be a lot of adjustments. So we should take the time when we've got it. So I'm hoping that works. I'm hoping that gets people excited to come to work. I'm hoping that the idea that if we work really well and we do really good, we can get paid for 8 hours, because they're all salaried employee, but we'll only do 6 hours of work. I'm happy with that. And I don't understand business owners who aren't. Because if the point is, if you can get 8 hours of work done in 6 hours, pay them for the 8 hours and let them work the 6. That's efficiency. And if we can ingrain that efficiency into people, and we can get people really comfortable at that efficiency level, maybe when we come back in June and go a more traditional schedule, because we're launching things in June, the extra hours will be more efficient because we've been practicing that high efficiency for a month. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. So, for those of you who are going to be calling us or sending us text messages or giving us emails at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, rest assured they will be seen, they will be heard, we will care about you, we do care about you, and we will respond to you. It may be the next morning. And if it's an emergency, please make it clear to us in your transmission that that is the case, because we, of course, will come back in and get something made in a hurry if we have to. I'm happy to take care of people. I live 4 minutes away. If I'm out working in the garden with Leah and Anna comes and says, we got a phone call from a customer, it needs to go out today, it needs to be made today, I'll put down my trowel and I'll go in and I'll make it and send it out. I don't mind that. So make that clear to us in your transmission if you communicate to us. But what do you think? Tell me all about it. I want to hear from you. I really do. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we get new podcasts out. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via our contact form on the main page of our website at murdycreative.co. At the very bottom, there's a whole contact form. You can also send us an email directly at sales@murdycreative.co, sales@murdycreative.co. You can call us or text us at 414-434-9001. We do pick up the phone. We do listen to voicemail. We do read texts and respond to them. However, all three of those activities happen by a real person. Her name is Anna. She does a great job. So Anna sometimes does other things like production and making things and shipping and quality control and making labels and all sorts of other things. And so please give us a few minutes to check in, and then we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Rest assured, if you don't hear from us, it's not that we don't want to respond to you. It's that we're busy at that moment, and we will get back to you. You are important to us. Give us a phone call. Give us a text, 414-434-9001. Officially, the hours are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. As I may have mentioned in this podcast, it may be a little bit different in the near future for the month of May. Obviously, we're not abandoning you guys. Just be cognizant of that, and thank you for giving us that time. If, for whatever reason, you want to leave us a review, good reviews are awesome. We love them. They make our day. I read the good reviews out loud, and we don't get bad reviews, but we leave good out loud to the team. So leave us a good review at murdycreative.co/review. murdycreative.co/review. That will take you to Google, which is where we are having our reviews left at the moment. If you want to read our reviews, you can go to murdycreative.co/reviews, which takes you to a page on our website that you can read all of our reviews. If for whatever reason you leave us a bad review, please, please, please give us an opportunity to make things right before we leave us a bad review. It is deeply important to me personally that everybody is happy with their purchase, that everyone loves their purchase. If you are unhappy for any reason, give us an opportunity to fix things. We have free domestic returns. So if you just don't like it and you want to get it back and you want to get your money back, we will do that. Please, before you leave us a bad review, give us an opportunity to make things right. I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to love your product. I really do. If for whatever reason you want a custom engraved item, we have custom engraving options on the website. So you can just do text on the product pages for almost all of them. However, if you want to add upload logos and images and things like that, you can click on the blue Add Custom Logo button, which will launch the customizer. Not every product is in the customizer right now, so not every product has that blue button. We can still do custom products or customized products without that blue button. Just send us an email directly. It just means that that particular product is not in the customizer yet. We're trying to get them all in there. It just takes time. So if you want a custom engraved product that doesn't have that blue button, send us an email directly, sales@murdycreative.co, sales@murdycreative.co, and include the product you're looking for, the image. We'll get you a mock-up and send you a custom order link that you can check out at. However, if that blue button is there, you can click that. It'll launch the customizer in the web browser you're in. You can upload logos, you can add text, you can resize, rotate, all of those good things, and then you can hit add to cart. If you want to get a whole bunch of something because you're going to get them for your team or whatever reason, you can change the cart quantity at that point in the cart, and we have bulk discounts apply at 5 items or more, and they get better as you add more items. And it's 5 items mix and match. So you can add all sorts of different things. So if you're doing graduation gifts this year and you want to get 5 of them because you got 5 people, you can get a discount on all of them. Just buy a 5, right? It's a great way to do it. We have no minimum order quantities and no setup fees. It's a simple flat fee, normally about $15, depends on the size and complexity in that customizer, and that will auto calculate based off of the size of the design. If for whatever reason you want to do an image, please for sure ensure that it's either not copyright protected. For example, patent drawings are not copyright protected. They are public domain by their very nature. So that's a fun little note. Also, if you have permission to use a copyright image, please send us an email. We actually send out proofs to you when you submit a custom engraved item. We send out a proof. Respond to that email with the custom, with the approval to use a copyright image if you are using a copyright image, and then we can go ahead. If you do not have permission to use a copyright image, don't do it. We can't make it. We just can't. It's a legal liability. They're going to sue us, not you. You don't have the money. They want us. They're mad at us. We're the ones that they can sue. So just keep that in mind. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.